17 minutes after 6 on this thankful Tuesday morning. When you hear that music, you know what time it is. We've been canvassing the headlines so that you don't have to. Sunrise headlines with our girl, T to the Cake. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm so thankful to see you guys.
Oh, and we're thankful
to have you with us.
All right, let's jump in. So, pregnant woman arrested for reportedly smuggling contraband to partner. And this is from the Gleaner. So, the pregnant common law partner of the man accused of killing paralegal Sandra Risden was arrested today for yesterday for reportedly attempting to smuggle contraband to him at a police lockup. So, according to the police, the woman brought food for her partner, and during a routine check of the container, a second container was reportedly attached to the one containing the food. A video circulating on social media show police removing the contraband, including lighters, marijuana, Rizla packs, cell phones, while the woman sat with a child in her lap. So the pregnant woman remains in custody.
I like this story. You know why I like this story? Because we need to realize, we like to talk about, oh, the government needs to do this and the government needs to do that and everybody needs to do something except us. And so when you go through the trouble of apprehending a criminal, I want you to see the support systems that criminals have, or alleged criminals. I want you to see how it is that someone is able to, for instance, I'm not in the instant case necessarily, but someone is able to be incarcerated, whether in jail or in prison, and still manage to affect crime on the outside, to order hits, to do this, to do that. This person is accused of a very serious crime, but I want you to realize that they don't do it without the women who know what they're doing, the people who feed them, the people who wash their dirty, bloody clothes, the people who come and support them in jail. And so it is a real issue that people need to see, and people need to be sent to prison for a long time so that they don't take the chance to assist someone in this kind of a way. So it's not just this kind of a woman, I'm not speaking anything directly about this, but this kind of a woman is the same kind of a woman or same kind of a person who knows our man a gunman, who knows our brother a gunman or our son a gunman, and they cover up. And then we wonder, how come we can't find so-and-so? How come we can't solve this murder? You solve no murder without the assistance of the people who know. And everybody, every crime, somebody know. Everybody who's gone missing and we can't find them, somebody know, and just not talk because they not implicate then gunman brother and then gunman friend and so on. So in this case, I mean, they've caught her in the act. I hope that the justice system does its job and that she is duly punished so that there are consequences for her action. Because guess what? Enforcement without consequences is not a deterrent.
It's exactly what we spoke about yesterday, the lack of enforcement. The laws are there, the lack of
consequences. Because there's a difference between enforcement and then feeling the consequences of the enforcement.
My only issue is, which I'm going to go to immediately as a mother, is the unborn child. So she has one child in her lap. She's pregnant. What happens to the children? No one thinks about what happens to the children. And for me, it's just a little bit too short-sighted, you know, satisfying an immediate need of someone versus thinking long-term, how will this impact my children? The children always get the short straw, and that's where I'm always bothered.
Well, given the parents, maybe this is for the best interest of the children.
Well, there's that as well. I mean, I'm sure there's some people out there who think, oh, I'm supporting my loved one, and you know,
ride or die.
Yes, this is, I'm a ride or die, and I'm supporting my loved one, and you know the message stands that if they're doing wrong, you're supporting wrong.
And then maybe I'm not playing devil's advocate, but let's just say we also don't know the flip side of it, which is bring this or else.
There's that.
We don't know what kind of threats maybe. No, I hear your point loud and clear, Dennis. I hear you.
No,
Dennis said with the bombastic side eye, 6:30 in the morning. But we also don't know, because we also remember, let's not forget, we're dealing with people who are like taking a life is nothing. So they might just be like, my girl, know yourself or else. We don't know. But It just highlights the bigger picture.
There are other angles that could also be considered, Dennis.
Yeah.
But your point definitely still stands, which is there really needs to be enforcement. There needs to be consequences.
And people know. They don't speak up for whatever reason, but they know. And if they spoke up, we may have a serious reduction in the level of crime that we experience because they know. People know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, so let's go to the next one. God, missing principal lives to recount abduction. We got this one from the CVM News team. So a western community of the island saw the victim of the principal of the Herbert Morrison Technical High School emerging to tell the tale of how he survived a gun attack and beating by unknown persons. So you may have been seeing seen the posters of the educator who vanished, according to loved ones, sometime Sunday en route to St. James from St. Elizabeth. And while he's now receiving treatment at hospital, his colleagues contend that this outcome is the one that they hoped for when news broke of his disappearance. Yes, to be recovered, to be alive.
Well, I mean, when we look at missing persons in Jamaica, first of all, man are really just gone missing. You know, I mean, young people will run off, women will, you know, run off, but men don't typically run away. So if you're missing, the probability is greater that something happened to you.
Right.
And the window, the longer it takes to find you, is the less likely.
Yeah.
And so the window shuts quicker for men than women and children. In this case, this was the best case scenario.
Absolutely.
You know, and so, you know, you always say, make we find him and whatever it is, we deal with it. But at least you're alive. And, you know, I would say be careful who you pick up.
Yeah.
Be careful who you offer a ride. You're not a taxi service.
And you know what's so sad about that is that there's sometimes you're in a situation and you're like, boy, this person really could do with some help, but I'm so afraid to help them.
Yeah, like
so then some good people on the roadside, broken down, and I've seen it so many times, and I'm just like, boy, I would love to, but I'm so afraid. And then now you have the person who's probably an innocent person saying, please help, and everybody's like, nope, not doing it. And so many people suffer.
It's a woman.
No, it's a woman with a child. No, there's nothing that keeps you safe, and it kind of impacts, you know, all these good people and innocent people from getting the type of help that they need.
And it impacts how society runs, because technically, as we are supposed to, everyone help everyone, you know? So even if you're coming off of a hill and you have a van, people jump in your van back. Not anymore. Not anymore. I vividly remember that as a child. You know, it's nothing to stop and help someone, but it's just not the same anymore. And it's then what ends up happening is people always now look at you with suspicion. Versus, I am my brother's keeper.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a survival instinct.
It is.
You have to be careful.
I mean, if right now I pick up somebody out of the goodness of my heart and something happens to me, I'm sure people are going to be like, then Tony, you're an idiot.
Exactly.
Why would you do that? And you're like, but I was just trying to be kind. And then you leave them and you say, boy, people, wicked. Imagine I was broken down on the road and nobody stopped to help me. It's just, there's no winning other than to get rid of the crime and stop.
But then here's my question, because sometimes, like, why is a person ill-intended? Because if you genuinely just want to help someone, why should I now have to pay the price for wanting to be a good Samaritan? You know what I mean? Like, why should we walk around thinking everyone has ill intentions?
Because you don't know the person who does.
I have an answer for you.
Tell me.
It took me a long time to come to this conclusion. So, do you know how there are some people who just take joy in good things happening to people, or they feel good when they help someone, or whatever? It's just the law of the universe. There has to be opposites. So there are just people in the world who just take joy and pleasure in evil and bad, and it makes them feel good.
Because it's like, to what end? Like, what do you even gain?
And so there are those people who exist, and we have to, you and I, who are like, no, but we want to help. We don't even think like them.
Right.
Whereas the other way around.
Both ends of the continuum, eh?
Yep.
Interesting perspective.
All right, well, the conversation about skin is in. It's an on-the-go morning skincare routine you won't want to miss on the other side of the break. Stay with us here on Sunrise.